I'm Paul Fuller, Assistant Curator at Maine Maritime Museum. I wanted to take a few moments today to talk about one of my favorite paintings that we have in our collections at the museum. This is a watercolor painting by the Norwegian-American artist Claus Hoie. Hoie was born in 1911 in Norway and moved to New York when he was 13, where he then studied at the Pratt Institute, and then after serving in World War II, continued studying at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. Hoie's works were very much influenced by history, by literature, by mythology. He wove in a lot of these types of stories into all of his arts, and that's something that we're going to see a lot in this particular image. So this painting, Mare Liberum, reaches into the past with references from the 9th through the 19th centuries, and it's made up of recurring elements from other paintings of Claus Hoie's. One of the recurring motifs that we see throughout his art is the use of really high contrast, and that's very prominent in this painting. It's almost got a checkerboard pattern of dark blue and white blocks, which separate small vignettes relating to pivotal moments in maritime history. So if we start at the top, we see the stenciled letters making up the title of the work, Mare Liberum, which is Latin for Freedom of the Seas. This was also the title of an important work on international law by Dutch philosopher Hugo de Groot, which essentially laid out the principle that the sea was open to all people, and the little vignettes throughout this painting all relate to that principle, the good and the bad that comes along with it. So at the top right, there's this Viking ship, something dark lurking beneath the waves, and in another work of Hoie's, this vessel is identified as belonging to Bjarni Herjolfsson, who sighted North America in 986 AD. Supposed to be the first European to have sighted North America. Just below, we can make out a small portrait of Commodore Matthew Perry and his ship Mississippi, which he sailed to Japan in the middle of the 19th century to try and open it up for trade with the United States. And then across the painting, at the middle of the left side, is another small portrait, this one of Queen Elizabeth I, who reigned over England for the second half of the 16th century. Next to her is a Spanish galleon representing the Spanish Armada that fought England unsuccessfully in 1588. The top left features a really interesting scene of a vessel with a winged lion on one sail and some kind of script written on the other sail. This vessel shows up in another painting of Hoie's and is titled Ship of Fools, which after an allegory originally appearing in Plato's Republic. Another big element of this image is all of the whaling scenes. At the top, just below the title, is a whale boat. The bottom of the painting, you see a lookout at the top of a mast looking through a telescope and sighting directly at this massive white whale in the bottom left corner. Moby Dick was a huge influence on Hoie, and the inclusion of this large white whale really kind of speaks to that. And of course, whaling was one of the biggest industries in the world in the 19th century. So this really is one of my favorite paintings at the museum because, for one, I think it's just really beautiful to look at. And also there's just so much going on in it. There's so much you can look at and learn and try to connect with other works of Hoie's and other works that are related in literature, just throughout our culture. So this is really sort of, in a way, an homage to cultural heritage, and I think that's just really cool. So take a really long, slow look at this painting or any of the other items that are on our online collections. What are the connections that you can make based on those? What do you see? What jumps out to you? Let us know.